coming off a good year last year, how do you work to repeat the success of last season?
Well, I mean, I think as for starters, you have to realize that last season was last season, and it's a whole new year, and we have to remind our guys of that just from standpoint too. I think because we have quite a few players back. We do in certain positions. The offensive skill, we've got a lot of guys back from last year, having to retool offensive line a little bit, but we've got a good group of core players back from that team. So we do have to understand it's a whole new year, new team.
And being able to have that many core guys back from a team that put up the most points in school history, how does that help offense?
Well, I mean, it gives those guys a lot of confidence, and I tell people all the time, probably got the smartest offensive skill group as a unit that I've ever had. I mean, we can do a lot of things with them. Those receivers will side adjust a lot of routes against various coverages, and so it's almost like with those guys having coaches on the field, and because they know that system as well as I do. So that gives us a lot of confidence having those type guys back out there, and I think everybody else feeds off of that.
What kind of system do y'all have in place on offense?
I guess most people would consider us a spread team, but I mean we're still, at the end of the day, if you can't run the ball and you can't stop the run, you can only go so far. So, but we one of our big things philosophy-wise, we're going to play to our personnel. We don't have a set system, and so in college you can recruit to a certain system. In high school you have to play with the players that you have. And so, we're always fitting if somebody wants to call it that, a system around the personnel that we have.
Switching over to defense, you allowed the most points in school history as well last year. How do you rectify that?
Well, I think our kids I think those guys are on a mission. There's a big core group back there. We had some young D linemen that are back that are really talented, and so I think those guys are on a mission to turn that thing around. And really, we felt like we were fairly efficient at times in the run game with our run defense. Our biggest nemesis last year was just giving up the big play in the passing game. So we put a big focus on that, and so I think we're expecting great things from those guys as well.
And schematically, what are y'all looking to do defensively this year with what you got?
Well, we're going to stay with the same type system in that. I mean, we're a multiple front defense. I think you see that more and more now, but we base out of an odd front. And but then we go from there, and again play to the people that we have.
And I guess final question will be expectations for this year.
Well, I mean, our expectations are high. We advanced to semifinals last year. I think these guys will be disappointed, if we're not back in that position this year. So, anything less than getting to that big game, I think it's going to be a disappointment for these guys. And these guys expect to win, and that's one thing I've learned from them. It don't matter who we play, regardless how good they are, those type things. I mean, our guys are not intimidated, and they expect to win. We go to Hoover last year in the semifinals and get blown out, and a lot of people would say, well, hey, it's a young team and inexperienced. That didn't have anything to do with it. Our guys were not intimidated by that situation at all. They were not in awe of that situation. That stage was not too big for them. We didn't play very well. We turned the ball over, which is uncharacteristic for us. And when you play them, especially that defense they had last year, you can't do that. So, but even in that world that night, I mean, those guys were not in awe of the situation. We didn't play well, and so so we're expecting great things.